Here's the truth. People do not secretly dislike you because you are doing better. They secretly dislike what your progress awakens inside them. That is the part most people never understand. When your life starts improving, something strange happens. The people who once laughed with you become quieter. The people who said they supported you become distant. The people who told you to chase your dreams suddenly look uncomfortable when you actually do. At first you think you did something wrong. Maybe you changed. Maybe you became arrogant. Maybe you stopped being the person they knew. But the truth is deeper than that. Your success did not create their insecurity. It revealed it. And that is where everything begins. Most people can support your potential. Because potential is harmless. Potential is still imaginary. Potential does not threaten anyone. But progress is different. Progress is visible. Progress creates comparison. Progress forces people to look at themselves, and not everyone likes what they see. This is not just motivation. This is documented human behavior. Psychologists call it social comparison. The human mind naturally measures itself against other people, not strangers far away, people close enough to feel relevant, friends, family, co-workers, people who knew the old version of you. That is why a stranger can celebrate your success more easily than someone close to you. A stranger does not feel compared to you, but someone close does. They knew your starting point. They knew your weaknesses. They knew your doubts. They knew when you were struggling. So when you begin rising, it creates a silent question inside them. If you could change, why didn't I? That question is painful, because it removes the comfort of excuses. And here's where it gets heavy. Your growth becomes evidence, evidence that discipline works, evidence that change is possible, evidence that the story they told themselves may not be true. Maybe it was not lack of time. Maybe it was not lack of luck. Maybe it was not lack of opportunity. Maybe they simply did not choose differently. That is a brutal mirror. And most people do not attack the mirror because it lies. They attack the mirror because it tells the truth. That is why your success can make some people uncomfortable without you saying a single word. Your discipline reminds them of their procrastination. Your confidence reminds them of their self-doubt. Your peace reminds them of their chaos. Your boundaries remind them of everything they still tolerate. Your growth becomes a mirror. And insecure people hate mirrors. They do not say, "Your success makes me feel behind." They say, "You changed." They do not say, "Your confidence makes me insecure." They say, "You think you are better than everyone." They do not say, "I feel threatened by your progress." They say, "You forgot where you came from." That is how the ego protects itself. It changes the story. It turns your growth into arrogance, your discipline into obsession, your boundaries into selfishness, your silence into disrespect. Because if you are the problem, they do not have to face themselves. Let me make this simple. Some people do not want you to fail. They just want you to stay familiar. They want the version of you they understand, the version that does not challenge them, the version that does not make them question their own life, the version that stays available, small, predictable, easy to place. But the moment you start becoming harder to recognize, they feel like they're losing control over the role you used to play in their mind. That is why growth feels lonely. Not because success isolates you, but because growth exposes who was attached to your old identity. Some people loved you when you were struggling because your struggle made them comfortable. It made them feel equal, sometimes even superior. They could advise you, pity you, laugh with you, relate to you. But once you begin improving, the emotional balance changes. Now you are no longer proof that staying the same is normal. You become proof that staying the same is a choice, and that is dangerous. Because people do not always envy the rich. They envy the person who started close to them and moved ahead. That is why your success may hurt people who once stood beside you. Not because they are evil, because closeness makes comparison sharper. When someone far away succeeds, it feels inspiring. When someone close succeeds, it can feel personal, especially if the success is in an area they care about: money, confidence, beauty, discipline, relationships, status, freedom. The closer the person, the stronger the comparison, and the more relevant your success is to their identity, the more threatening it becomes. That is why some people can celebrate your new relationship but resent your financial growth, or celebrate your money but resent your confidence, or support your career but feel uncomfortable when you become emotionally stronger. It depends on where they feel weakest. Your success only threatens the part of them they have not healed. That is the hidden psychology. The person who is secure in themselves can admire you. The person who is insecure around that specific thing may resent you. Same success, different reaction, different wound. And this is where envy divides into two paths. One kind of envy says, if they can do it, maybe I can too. That kind of envy becomes motivation. It studies, learns, improves. It turns your success into fuel. But the other kind of envy says, if I cannot feel bigger, they must feel smaller. That is the dangerous kind. It does not want to rise. It wants you to fall. It criticizes, minimizes, mocks, withdraws. Suddenly your achievement is not that impressive. Your progress is luck. Your discipline is obsession. Your confidence is ego. Your happiness is fake. Your peace is an act. Because pulling you down feels easier than rising up. That is malicious envy. And if you have felt it, you know the energy. It is not loud. It is subtle. It hides behind jokes, small comments, delayed congratulations, cold silence, a smile that does not reach the eyes, a compliment with poison underneath. I am happy for you. But the tone feels empty. You are doing well. But the face looks tense. Must be nice. But the words carry something heavy. You feel it before you can explain it. And then you question yourself. Maybe you are being too sensitive. Maybe you are overthinking. Maybe they are just busy. But deep down, your body knows when support has changed temperature. And sometimes your body understands the room before your mind can explain it. That is why success teaches you something painful. It does not only reveal your potential, it reveals your circle. Because people can hide jealousy when nothing is happening. They can hide envy when you are standing still. They can hide resentment when your life is familiar. But the moment you start winning, the mask becomes harder to hold. Not because they suddenly changed, because your progress activated something that was already inside them. This is why you must be careful, not paranoid. Careful. There is a difference. Paranoia says everyone is against you. Awareness says some people cannot handle your growth. Paranoia makes you bitter. Awareness makes you selective. And selectivity is power. Because one of the biggest mistakes successful people make is trying to bring everyone with them. They think loyalty means access. They think history means safety. They think because someone knew them for years, that person deserves a front row seat to their future. But time does not equal loyalty. Access does not equal love. And familiarity does not equal support. Some people know your past too well to respect your future. They still see the old you, the insecure you, the struggling you, the confused you, the version they could understand. So, when you evolve, they experience a kind of emotional resistance. Their mind says, no, that cannot be who they are now. Because if you become something greater, they must update the image they had of you. And some people refuse to update. They prefer your old version because your old version made them feel safe. This is why the phrase, "you changed," is so powerful. Sometimes it is honest. Sometimes it is manipulation. Sometimes it means you became healthier. You became stronger. You stopped needing my approval. You are no longer easy to control. You stopped making me feel superior. But instead of saying that, they say, you changed, and you feel guilty. You start wondering if growth made you cold. But maybe you did not become cold. Maybe you became unavailable for old patterns. Maybe you did not become arrogant. Maybe you became confident. Maybe you did not abandon them. Maybe you stopped abandoning yourself. That is the difference.